Hello everybody, welcome back to the Reviewing Your Pokemon series, and this is actually our first submission that's submitted through the Discord. I'll leave a link to that in the description if you want to join. But yeah, this is from missrarity95. Now, missrarity95 has sent in none other than this Eevee. The title of their post is Making the Case for Jolteon, basically. So, very interesting Eevee here. This is like the ideal Jolteon stat spread for a lot of players. Berry Finding S, Help Bonus, while also having lots of skill triggers. But yeah, missrarity95 comes with this question of saying, I got this Eevee recently and my jaw hit the floor. I wanted to know if it's really not recommended to make this a Jolteon. I run a Raikou team. Raikou gave stats for the Pokemon that are on the Raikou team. You'll see them later. If I were to make this Eevee a Jolteon, it would replace my level 44 Gengar. Also, I have the stats. I want to know if swapping the Gengar for this hypothetical Jolteon is any better overall to the team's total strength. The other space I have on it would be for Palmont once I find a good one. Right now, Gardevoir stats. Whenever I've asked about Jolteon for Raikou team, I get told that I should run another Pikachu. I have 0 Pikachu candies, but I have 2,136 Eevee candies. Been a player since day one. I also think having the Milk of Cacao is nice because my Raichu and Witch Hat Pikachu do apples. I apologize for the long comment. I'd be stoked if I was chosen for one of your videos. I am a fan and enjoy watching your content. Well, I enjoy having you viewing Miss Rarity 95. So, thanks for sending in the Pikachu, or the Eevee. And also, I have the Gengar here for comparison. They're the ones I have screenshots for. But, yeah, so the question here really just comes down to which is going to be better for a Raikou team. Now, it sounds like Miss Rarity is looking at running Raikou throughout the day, and it's not for the purposes of overstacking. For the purposes of overstacking, you might see a little bit different results, just because that's the whole question of, is it better to run an extra stacker or run another berry specialist? And for the answer to that question, that really comes down to just what you have, and this one has phenomenal stats. I think it'll honestly probably serve you better than another berry specialist. If you want to know why I think that, check out my video on berry bombing. I go much more in depth about that. I didn't run the numbers on that because this seems to be more for general use than berry bombing. And that's what I'm going to analyze it as. But yeah, if you want to know more about that, I'll link that video in the description. If I don't, please remind me in the comments because I probably just forgot. Anyway, so, coming here. The reason why I say this is like the ideal Jolteon is because Jolteon really wants Berry Finding S. If it doesn't have Berry Finding S, I wouldn't ever recommend a Eevee turning into a Jolteon. Just because the big draw of Jolteon is two things. One, its main skill. If it procs on itself, that is actually a huge dagger, because you'll be losing half the productivity, basically. And there's always a chance that it could proc on itself. There's no way to mitigate that or reduce that. So you really do want to have Berry Finding S on a Jolteon. It's probably the one evolution that I would say don't even consider making it into a Jolteon if it doesn't have Berry Finding S. Unless you just really, really need an overstacker for prep. Because preparation with berry bombing, you don't necessarily need the Berry Finding S on the Jolteon. But I'd still prefer it, because then you can use it for general use as well. Helping bonus, also phenomenal for both overstacking teams and for those sorts of teams, because then it feeds the Raikou to instead help it out so that it procs even more. It also makes it so that all the other Pokemon on the team help faster. Phenomenal sub-skill, great on any Pokemon. And it's got a main skill chance up nature and skill trigger as well. It's got an energy recovery down nature, which can be a bit annoying if you don't have a good healer. But their healer is a phenomenal Gardevoir here with skill trigger M, skill chance up, and helping bonus as well. So, overall, this thing is like the ideal Jolteon. If you want to make a Jolteon, this is what you want. You're not going to catch a better Eevee to make it into a Jolteon, first and foremost. The real question here is, does this Jolteon compare to running their Gengar instead? And does it compare to any potential Pikachu that could be run in the place? And is it worth any additional investments? Now, first thing that I do want to mention is 2,136 Eevee candies is a lot. In fact, I've run it in here, checked it out. If they take the time to evolve it into a Jolteon, spend those candies, spend that candy to level it up, they literally can just get it to level 60. There is no ifs, ands, and buts about it. If it had an XP gains down nature, which it doesn't, it's got an energy recovery down nature, you can still get it to level 58 in just a heartbeat if you're willing to full invest. That is absurd if you know how late costs are. So pretty much it's just a question of how much do you want to invest it. It's not really about do you have the resources to or not. I assume if you have that many candies, you're not investing any other Eevees. So, and if you are, then maybe that's a consideration, but you're short on Pikachu candies as well, so that's another question to be brought about. So, let's get into the analysis that I've actually done for you here, Miss Rarity. So, I've made a boatload of teams. It's basically the same team, just copied it over and over again. I put in your Raikou, your Raichu, the Halloween Hat Pika. By the way, this Raichu, I am kind of jealous. I have a very similar one, but pretty much the same as mine, and it's one of the best Raichus in the game. So, congrats on that. That's a side comment, though. Also, this Halloween Hat Pika, also phenomenal. You've got a great Raikou team. I see why you're making it. And a pretty good Raikou as well. I understand your reasons for this. You've caught, like, the ideal Pokemon for this circumstance. But yeah, then it's really just the question of the Gengar and the Healer. Now, something very interesting is when it comes to Raikou's skill, it actually gets more valuable with that 5th slot. Because it goes up by 2 procs, 2 helps, going from 4 to 5, then going from 3 to 4, it only increases by 1. So when you do get a Pawmont, it theoretically should be better to have another electric type here, because then you're going from 4 matching, because it'd be 4 with the Pawmont, so then it'd be 5 if you have another electric type here. That theoretically should do it better comparatively to the Gengar than not. I didn't make a team to demonstrate that concept, but that is how the skill works. But let's get into the comparisons that I did make. So these top ones are your Gengar. Now, I have... This one is without being at Old Gold Power Plant. There's no island bonus taken into account, so don't take these numbers as the actual productivity for these teams. I also made a couple assumptions. I assumed max skill seed investment on the Gardevoir. I assumed max skill seed investment on the Raikou as well, just because they're skill specialists. You're probably going to be only running them if you have that max skill seed investment. I also assumed max skill seed investment on the Jolteon as well, because once again, it's a skill specialist first and foremost. The Berry Finding S help bonus is nice, but its skill is really where it's getting its value. So those are the assumptions that I made for this based off I didn't have the info in the post. So, the Gengar team, the middle one here is with being at Old Gold Power Plant, and the last one here is the same, but with good camp ticket active. Now, something very interesting, you can see that the outputs actually come out to be the same with or without good camp ticket, and I found out that the reasoning for that is because if you click on it, it uses the good camp ticket settings of whatever screen you're on right now. So this one has good camp ticket enabled, the other one doesn't. You can see that all of these numbers increased. If I go to the one without good camp ticket, then you can see that all the numbers decrease. That's because now it's accounting for good camp ticket. So it's a little bit bugged. I might be messaging the Rain on X Discord to let them know about this little bug, because that's an interesting thing. But you can see that the Jolteon, I didn't even sub-skill seed it. I gave it just skill trigger S's if you didn't want to invest the sub-skill seed, but you probably would want to if you're going to run it. I assume you're premium if you're considering this many main skill seeds of investment throughout the course of the team. But as you can see, the Jolteon, hands down at level 50, does outperform the Gengar for no matter what the circumstance is. On a non-Old Gold Power Plant team, it does better. On an Old Gold Power Plant team, it does better. On an Old Gold Power Plant team with good camp ticket active, it does better. So then, is it better than the Gengar? Yes. The real question, though, is should you invest because maybe you'll catch a Pikachu? Well, I think you should invest because the Pikachu is definitely not a better option. You can see here that you look at the Pikachu. I compared this to if you have a Pikachu with just Berry Finding S, a maxed out ribbon, which means you have to sleep with it for 2,000 hours, and get it to level 60, which is a very big stretch, given that you said you have 0 Pikachu candies, and you're probably going to want to keep investing these guys up a bit more, because these two are phenomenal. You're probably not going to catch a Pikachu to compete with them, in terms of, like, that would draw the candies away even more. So, this is, like, a pretty absurd scenario to have a Pikachu with this quality. And yes, does it do better? Yes, a little bit. You can see the numbers here. It does come out to do just slightly better. But the difference is pretty small. And even if I take away that $2,000 ribbon alone, just down to a $1,000 ribbon, you'll see that the difference comes to really just be that the Jolteon actually does better. So you would really need a $2,000 ribbon before it could work with the Pikachu. So anyone who's telling you that the wait along for a Pikachu, I think is not thinking straight, because you have a golden opportunity here with this Jolteon candidate to fill that slot on your Raikou team and do really well as well. So now I also want to make the comparison if you do have the Palmot. So I just assumed the same stats of the Gardevoir but on a Palmot instead to see how that compares, and the comparison is basically the same between these two. Like I said, the Gengar would do even worse here because Raikou's skill helps more with a 5th species of electric Pokemon. So then without it. So the Gengar really isn't even a consideration because it's the worst option of all of them, even without considering the 5th electric type. But realistically, once again, they're close. And even if I just take away that $2,000 ribbon from the Pikachu, that alone makes it do worse than the Jolteon team. So, yeah, 2.26 mil versus 2.24 mil. So, realistically, I'd say invest. This thing has gorgeous stats. It fits right in on your team that you're looking to plan. You have a phenomenal Raikou setup. You get that Palmot, and you'll be even better set off. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I have to comment about it. It's great. You've got a great opportunity here. I think that the people that are saying wait for Pikachu haven't actually considered just how powerful a Berry Finding S helping bonus option can be, especially when it also is good for triggers, because this Jolteon candidate has got it all. It's a great investment. Anyway, if you have enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. If you want to get a chance to get one of your Pokemon reviewed as well, there's a Google form in the description here. Otherwise, there's the alternate way of submitting through the Discord. The Discord link's in the description as well. So, be glad to see you down in there. That'd be awesome in either way. But, yeah, thanks for watching, as always, and I hope that you all have a wonderful day. Bye-bye now.